Thank you very much for tuning in once again to the UCL Fantasy Deadline stream for Matchday 13. And also massive thank you for all the support over the years and for the birthday wishes last week. Not a great start to the new so-called year, at least for me personally, but it is what it is, right? And yeah, we're here doing the Deadline stream. I did a triple recording yesterday. I mean, it's kind of like one thing after the other, but it's all sorted and hopefully it's going to be smooth from now on, like it usually is with these fantasy deadline streams, even though there's a lot of chaos involved. Now, I talked about my team selection yesterday, and I'll delve into the intricacies about that. And you can see, of course, the best wildcard and limitless squads in those respective videos. What I'm going to do, though, is go through the different screens that I wasn't able to previously because of you know what. If you were there, then you know what I'm talking about. But this is my UCL Fantasy League. Be sure to join. The code is SEINOF. There's an auto-join link in the description. And check out everything else, my Discord server, Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky, for updates on UCL Fantasy and FPL. There will be a lot of content, by the way, this week for Fantasy Premier League, ahead of Game Week 32. There's going to be a Friday deadline, and in the meantime, a final wildcard video and my team selection with a few updates to my chip strategy. These are my predictions, well, for Predict 6, another game you can play on the UEFA website. And a few of these are subject to change, especially after we go through the early lineups, if you will, for Sporting Arsenal and Real Madrid up against Bayern Munich. But my current scoreline predictions are Sporting 1, Arsenal 1, Real Madrid 2, Bayern 2, Barcelona 3, Atletico Madrid 1, and Paris Saint-Germain 4, Liverpool 1. I put a poll out on my channel earlier, and Mbappe has almost half of the votes for the captaincy. Kane is second, Vinicius is third, and Gabriel is fourth. But feel free to leave your thoughts in the live chat. Which other captains are you considering? Maybe Michael Olise or Victor Gyökeres, Francisco Trincao. There are plenty of options on the Tuesday. And this was from Arsenal's training session yesterday. So Gabriel, Rice, Trossard all featured, and we're going to talk about them very soon in the lineup. Timber, Hincapié, Eze, Saka, not even in the squad. So they are ruled out. But Saka and Timber could be back for the weekend, and that'll be discussed in my FPL content. And this is Atletico Madrid's squad to face Barcelona, and they have a few key players returning. That includes Pubil, but Oblak is not in the squad. That's worth mentioning, which you just saw, of course, in the previous section. And I will go to these predicted lineups very soon and talk about the Wednesday options and maybe highlight some suspension risks even from the Tuesday matches. But let's talk about Real Madrid's starting 11 with Lunin in goal to replace the injured Thibaut Courtois, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Rudiger, Howson and Carreras, Valverde, Tchouaméni and Pitarch, Arda Güler, Mbappe, Vinicius. I had so many screens set up in the build-up to the lineups, and one of them actually talked about Pitarch starting, but obviously that all went to waste a little bit with the deadline stream shenanigans from earlier. For Bayern Munich, Neuer, Stanisic, Tart, Upamecano, Lima, Pavlovic, Kimmich, Luis Diaz, Gnabry, Elise and Kane start. So no real surprises there, but of course all eyes were on Harry Kane, and he does start for the Bavarians. Let's look at Sporting's 11 as well. Rhys Silva, Fresneda, Diomande, Gonzalo Inacio, Araujo, João Simões, Morita, Catamo, Francisco Trincao, Pedro Gonçalves, and Luis Suarez. For Arsenal, Raya, Calafiori, Gabriel, Saliba and White, Rice, Zubimendi and Odegaard, with Trossard, Gyökeres facing his former club, and Madueke on the right. So that's all confirmed there. And before I get into your questions, oh yeah, this is not, Jesus Christ, this is not even, it's just showing a black screen. Yeah, so everything got reset from earlier, basically. So yeah, I do apologize, like I said, but yeah, literally my technology has been beefing me the whole time. But yeah, ultimately, these were the updates I talked about. You can see it now. I'm going to go through the different screens and have everything set up for you. But this is PSG versus Liverpool. So the predicted lineups, nothing is set in stone. Seinof, Hakimi, Marquinhos, Bacho, Nuno Mendes, Emery, Vitinha, João Neves, Doué, Dembele and Kvaratskhelia. Barcola is out. Mayulu and Fabian Ruiz are doubtful, whilst Kvaratskhelia and Nuno Mendes will miss the next game if booked. For Liverpool, Mamardashvili, Frimpong, Kanate, Van Dijk, Kirke, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, McAllister, Wirtz, Salah, Ekitike. And they have a few injured players in Alisson, Bradley and Endo. Isak is doubtful, and they've got a few suspension risks of their own in Bradley, Gravenberch, Jones and Van Dijk. For Barcelona, Atleti, Joan Garcia, Eric Garcia, Cubarsí, Gerard Martín, Joao Cancelo, Olmo, Pedri, Yamal, Fermin Lopez, Rashford, Lewandowski, whilst Bernal, Christensen, De Jong, and Rafinha are ruled out. And they have a few suspension risks in Casado, Fermin Lopez, Gerard Martín, who should have been sent off against Atletico on Saturday, by the way, and Lamine Yamal. For the away side, they went for Oblak in there, but he is unavailable, so it should be Musso starting for Atletico Madrid. Llorente, Jimenez, Hanko, Ruggeri, Koke, Alex Baena, Simeone, Griezmann, Lookman, Alvarez, Barrios, Cardoso, Mendoza are out, whilst Oblak and Bubil are doubtful, but Bubil's in the squad, Oblak is not. And the likes of Almada, Barrios, Lenormand, Lenglet, Llorente, Bubil, Ruggeri, Simeone are all suspension risks. For Real Madrid, Ceballos, Courtois, Mendy and Rodrigo are not in the squad, and they've got plenty of players walking the tightrope there, like Bellingham, Carreras, Hausen, Mbappe, Rodrigo, Tchouameni and Vinicius Jr. For Bayern Munich, Ulrich is out, but many players returned, including Manuel Neuer, Stanisic and Kane, which I covered in my triple upload yesterday. Both Lima and Upamecano remain suspension risks, but just in case, these are the official lineups there for Real Madrid and Bayern Munich. It can all be seen on the UEFA website, of course, and I went through it earlier, unfortunately with a black screen in the background, and this, well, is the Sporting lineup alongside Arsenal, but it was all covered earlier. Maybe I'll have time to go through it once more. And be sure to drop a like as well. Thank you very much for all the support and for those that have tuned in once again. I usually go live even earlier, and unfortunately I did have issues with, I think it was the computer more than anything, believe it or not, because my internet was working on other devices and it seemed to be a device-specific issue. So I had to restart things, and that's why everything got reset and you saw the black screen, but it is what it is. Hopefully it should all be good now, and thank you very much for all the support, like I said as well. What I'm going to show you are my current transfer plans, a bit updated actually from the team selection video yesterday. So I could buy Nuno Mendes and Saliba in my defensive line, and that would replace Jonathan Tah and Virgil van Dijk. In the midfield, I would buy Kvaratskhelia to replace Rafinha, and Mbappe and Kane up front, and that would be two eliminated players out in the process in Erling Haaland and Hauge. So I would really bolster my forward line. But the other strikers I'm looking at, or forwards, are Dembele, Alvarez and Victor Gyökeres, which I talked about as well in all my podcasts yesterday. But Mbappe and Kane are the standouts, and it also gives me a nice balance between the Tuesday and the Wednesday. But it would mean triple Arsenal defence and a Sporting attacker there in Francisco Trincao, which could work fairly well, at least for the first leg. And I did have a few things set up in terms of the best limitless and wildcard squads, maybe a few updates, but like I said, everything did get reset. So if people do want to see that, then maybe I'll have time to go through it. But yeah, let's just go through some questions first before I go to the graphics. And yeah, let's make sure everything is actually in order. So yeah, these are actually working here. And oh yeah, there's a poll that I put out on my channel, but I wasn't yeah, I wasn't able to actually show it. So let's remove this black screen. Yeah, this is working here. So Mbappe has half of the votes in terms of the Tuesday captaincy poll. Kane is second, Vinicius third, and Gabriel fourth. There might have been a few updates though since I last read it out. So yeah, still very similar. Mbappe has gone down a little bit, but still the clear victor there when it comes to the captaincy. And yeah, I think everything else should be good now. So let's go for some questions. I think that is definitely fair, especially given your patience and yeah, people tuning in again. So let's whiz through these one by one. Yeah, all good. Lucky, all things considered. What about you? Thank you very much, Brian. And yeah, just thank you very much. Selling Van Dijk, possible. I think PSG will win quite comprehensively. Van Dijk is, or has been, the best defender in UCL Fantasy this season with 76 points, but I think PSG could score 3 or 4 goals. Thoughts on my subs: Grimaldo, Pacho, Gordon to Elise, Rafinha, Szoboszlai, Peter Haug, Mbappe, Haaland, Kane. All looks good to me. With Szoboszlai, he's the highest scoring player in the game for a reason, so he's definitely a good pick. But against PSG, I would favour their midfielders instead. Maybe you've got them already, like Kvaratskhelia and Vitinha. But yeah, I'm actually, if I was limitless, using the limitless or wildcard, I would be considering selling or offloading some of these Liverpool players actually, but since I've only got 5 free transfers, I'm pretty good with that as well. Ahmed says Luis Diaz, Peter Haug, Haaland, Szoboszlai, Rafinha, Due, Yamal, Gordon, Gabriel, Tah, Ruggeri, Hakimi, Van Dijk, Raya and Alisson. Yeah, so some players are kind of self-explanatory. So Peter Haug, for example, eliminated. Alisson's injured. A few players like Tan Ruggeri aren't ideal. Obviously, Gordon's out. Rafinha's injured. So those are the players, obviously, to highlight, and Erling Haaland. But yeah, I don't think it's worth taking a -4 hit to sell all of them. So you probably keep Alisson Becker, actually, and focus on the outfield players and offload those that I just mentioned. Yeah, all good, Mr. Alex. Hopefully you're doing well too. Quick question. Gerard Martin or Eric Garcia? I'm not a massive fan of either, but probably Gerard Martin. As for Vitinho Kvaratskhelia, very, very close. Kvaratskhelia is a suspension risk, and Vitinho has a great record against English clubs this season, particularly at home. But I would go towards Kvaratskhelia. There's not a big difference, though. Thank you, Baraf. Stanisic, Cancelo, or Bacho? I think from those three players, yeah, it's probably going to be Cancelo for me, at least for this match day. Defender up to 4.6 million. I think Gonzalo Inacio or Fresneda would be decent for the first leg. And even Calafiori's starting right now, but it just depends which side you're backing, at least for the first. Thank you, Oogie Boogie. Yes, we are back. I saw your support in the comment section. I'll be honest, I didn't see any hate comments just yet, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It is what it is. Thank you very much. Show goes on, no issues, mate. This is a free service. Crack on, lad. Yeah, I know, but it's frustrating. It's the first time it happened to this extent, but it is what it is. So just gotta make the best of a bad situation. Yeah, of course, the lineups are already out. I mean, Fabrizio isn't, let's say, the one breaking the lineups, basically. They were all confirmed at 6:45 p.m. in the UK, and I was ready to show them in the previous stream that ended up not happening. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm just coming. Who is the best captain for tonight? Yeah, for me, it's a close call between Mbappe and Kane. I think if I had to pick, probably Mbappe at the moment. You're going to see my captaincy list very soon. But oddly enough, the sort of top options are the ones from the Wednesday. Should I take it for no goalie today? Yeah, that's a little bit different. If you have no goalkeeper and you're down to 10 men, well, it's far from ideal. I just don't like taking hits for goalkeepers, and you've got to get it spot on. And even if they keep a clean sheet, you're likely only going to gain 2 points from it. So is the risk really worth it? I probably don't think so, actually. Raya is the most secure pick. He's got the highest ownership, second most points amongst goalkeepers, and Arsenal top of the clean sheet odds, and you're going to see the updated version, and those stats are taken by the website fantasyfootballpundit.com. But I think with goalkeepers, I wouldn't take a hit. Stanisic, Cancelo, or Bacho? Yeah, I covered this earlier, so it would be Cancelo for me. They're all good options. I like Bacho a lot, but I think with Bayern and Real Madrid defenders, I would steer clear from them. Captain out of Kane, Elise, Gabriel, Saliba, and Gyökeres. It would be Kane for me. By the way, thank you to the moderators for dealing with all the chats. I do appreciate that, especially the spamming. Let's go. Happy belated birthday. Thank you very much. Yeah, not the best of starts to my birthday in general. I got ill literally over the last 2 days or something. Yeah, and then other things happened, but it is what it is. You just got to keep on going. Hi, I transferred Diaz, Halga, Haaland, Rafinha, and Van Dijk for Kane, Mbappe, Dembele, Fermi Lopez, and Gerard Martin. Thoughts? I'm not sure about the last one, Gerard Martin. With the others, I'm more on board, but look, it's not a bad pick in isolation. I just think with Barcelona, yeah, you're looking at Yamal, you're looking at Cancelo, maybe Joan Garcia. Those are my favourite picks in general from the Catalans right now. Just a big shame that Rafinha's not available, but yeah, I'm seeing quite a lot of people mention Gerard Martin. Maybe I'm missing a trick there. I just think he was very fortunate not to be sent off on Saturday. Thank you. I'm Jorge. Let me know which team you support, by the way. Maybe you're a Sporting fan, but it's possible I offended you by saying that. Second intro goes hard. Yeah, it's good music. Shame I couldn't play the whole song because time is of the essence. Trincao or Ricel? I'd rather have Trincao. Yeah. PSG will destroy Liverpool, especially the extra day's rest and Liverpool underperforming. I just think Liverpool are far too open, to be fair. And I think PSG will win comfortably. But there you go. Rashford and Bacho or Nuno Mendes and Luis Suarez? Interesting one. Probably Rashford and Bacho. And of course, Rashford did score against Atletico Madrid in their recent meeting. But yeah, they're both really solid duos. I would just lean towards Rashford and Bacho over both legs. Thank you, Falcon. Much appreciated. And to be honest, I didn't even see the so-called hate comments, and I don't really care about that. I'm just more frustrated because, yeah, I usually have like a decent 2-hour live stream, if you will, 1.5 hours minimum. But it was definitely disrupted because of the technology and internet, maybe. A combination of both. Will you have both Mbappe and Kane? Yeah, very likely. That's what I talked about all week, and in my triple upload yesterday, I was very firm on that Mbappe-Kane duo. Let me just go through the super chats and the member questions and then go through the rest. I also want to show you some graphics as well. Thank you, Anish, for being a member for over a year, 13 months. Belated birthday wishes, Dylan. Thank you. It was last Thursday, and that day was great. The days after, maybe not so much, but it is what it is. Haribo, thank you as well. Hi, Dylan. I want to get Kane, Dembele, Kvaratskhelia, Vitinha, and Gyökeres, but I have Urbig. So do I get 4 of my targets and Garcia or play of Raya only? Yeah, so in this situation, I'd probably go for the goalkeeper transfer as long as it's not for a hit, because it just gives you that extra option, and I think it's plausible for Sporting to score against Arsenal today. As good as Arsenal can be defensively, I think it's probably worth doing that. Now, then again, Barcelona have not kept a clean sheet in the Champions League this season with Joan Garcia between the sticks, so yeah, even if he does keep one, you're looking at 6 or 7 points, but it's better than getting 2 or 3 or even less from Raya today, if that were to be the case. But it's a good question. I just think it depends as well on who you're selling to get these players in, like Kane, Dembele, Kvaratskhelia, Vitinha, and Gyökeres. That would ultimately decide it. But if we're talking about players like Szoboszlai, as much as I talked about PSG potentially battering Liverpool, I still think Szoboszlai is worth keeping. He is the highest scoring player in UCL Fantasy after all. But let me know which players you're looking to sell for those players, Haribo, and I can give you a definitive answer. But my current preference, without knowing the full context, is to go for the goalkeeper move. Joe Gomez or Gerard Martin? I'd go for Gerard Martin. Yeah. Salud, what is your plan for your forwards? Yeah, if I can actually show you without a bloody black screen, that'd be great. So these are my transfer plans: to buy Mbappe and Kane, kind of boring, for Hauge and Erling Haaland. Kvaratskhelia to be my Rafinha replacement, and then Nuno Mendes and Saliba in my defensive line. And that would be the way to offload Van Dijk, who is the highest scoring defender in the game, alongside Jonathan Tah. I think all Bayern Munich and Real Madrid defenders can be skipped. So that's my current plan, but yeah, it's not fully locked in. There's probably 1 or 2 tweaks to make, and it's mainly in my defensive line, because even with Arsenal tripling up on their defense after their recent, wobbles, if you will, is not particularly filling me with confidence. Only have 4 million left, so I had to go with Martin. That's fair enough. And ultimately, I prefer him over Ruggeri, and you could argue he's a better option than Fresneda, who I mentioned earlier. So yeah, I think that works. It's just, I think with Barca defenders, Cancelo's my favourite. Then again, he's only got 3 points in the Champions League so far, but I'm hoping for much more, at least for the next match day or 2. Thank you, Sid. Need a midfielder cheaper than 6.2 million. Thoughts on Arda Güler? Yeah, Real Madrid Bayern Munich could be a very high scoring game. I've gone for 2-2 in my predictions, and might as well go to my predict 6 score lines here. So yeah, Sporting 1, Arsenal 1. I might change a few of these. I put Sporting to be 1-0 up at half-time, Sporting to score in the second half. That kind of contradicts each other, by the way, so might need to change a little bit. I put Luis Suarez to score, and no red card. So yeah, let's go for something a little bit different. I don't even know why I'm doing this. Sporting, yeah, 1-0. 1-0. Let's go for 0-0 and, yeah, keep everything fairly consistent. For Bayern Munich versus Real Madrid, yeah, I put a goal in the first half. Will there be 4 or more goals? I've put yes. Will Vinicius and Kane both score? Yes. And Harry Kane to be player of the match. It's between him, Mbappe, and Vinicius, but yeah, that's what I've currently gone for. For Barcelona against Atletico Madrid, I put Barca to score first, to be 1-0 up at half-time. And I said no for Yamal and Soloff both scoring. And for Pedri to be player of the match, something a little bit different. And then I've gone for Paris Saint-Germain 4, Liverpool 1. And for the Champions League holders to be 1-0 up at half-time. Someone scoring a penalty, I've put yes. Kvaratskhelia getting an assist. And Liverpool scoring in the second half. I don't know why. I put yes at the moment. I might even turn that into a no. But if I do that, I need to be wary about my first prediction as well. But ultimately, that's secondary. I'll talk about that as well. And I'm definitely not too fussed about those Wednesday predictions just yet. It's all about the Tuesday matches and locking things in right now for the Champions League. And yeah, with all the delays and stuff, I've got to get it moving when it comes to transfers. But before I do, what I'm going to end up doing in the next section is showing you some graphics and then going through other super chats and member questions, just so you're well prepared for Matchday 13. Thank you once again for all your patience. So these are my update team selection graphics because we have seen changes. Gabriel is no longer flagged. He's in the starting 11, of course. And Harry Kane is the one who is now flagged, but of course he starts for Bayern Munich up front. This is a review of how I did in Matchday 12. You can see the full analysis in my team selection video yesterday. I did a triple upload, but after getting 4 Player of the Match awards in the midfield and everyone producing in the starting 11, I scored 131 points last time out, and my rank has gone up quite considerably to 14k, which I'm very happy with. And these are some potential moves. Jonathan Tah to William Saliba. I think that could bolster my defensive line. Trincao to Vitinha is a little bit hit or miss, but Rafinha to Kvaratskhelia is an excellent move, of course, and the only concern there is the suspension risk. Harry Kane would come in for Hauger, and Mbappe is yet another one who is walking that suspension tightrope, but he is one of the best forwards to buy ahead of Matchday 13. So this is my provisional team selection, and you're going to see my final squad very soon, and the transfers I'm going to end up locking in. But Raya, Joao Cancelo, Gabriel and Hakimi is likely. I could even add Saliba to the mix with Yamal, Vinicius, Vitinha, Kvaratskhelia, Kane, Mbappe and Luis Diaz, with Joan Garcia, Bacho, Van Dijk and Szoboszlai on the bench. So if needed, if Mbappe or Kane don't work out today, because that will likely be my Tuesday captain, I think Yamal will be the Wednesday option, but that is not locked in, and I will update that for patrons and members, of course, tomorrow. But Kvaratskhelia is really appealing to me. I think PSG could score a bucketload of goals against Liverpool. So before I go back to your questions, I want to go through the odds and highlight the highest scoring players in each position. So Courtois is injured, so Raya is the highest scoring from those available. Van Dijk in the defence and Szoboszlai in the midfield. And for forwards, it's Kylian Mbappe. Yeah, no surprises there. He's the top scorer of the competition. And Szoboszlai is the highest scoring player across all positions with 83. So these clean sheet odds are taken by the website fantasyfootballpundit.com. Arsenal are top with a 40% chance of keeping a clean sheet against Sporting away. Barcelona are second. PSG, Bayern Munich and Sporting are in the top 5. And the rest in order include Real Madrid, Liverpool and Atletico. So a few minor changes in terms of percentages and also the order. So we have seen Sporting rise up to 5th with these predictions on these probabilities. The ones I showed from yesterday were from Fantasy Football Scout, so it's definitely worth bearing that in mind. And now the top 10 captaincy. No changes, just with the flags and stuff. So Gabriel and Kane have switched in terms of who is actually flagged at the moment. They're both starting, so it's irrelevant anyway. I've put Yamal top of my captaincy list, but this could easily be Kvaratskhelia for me. Any PSG attacker, which also includes Dembele, would also be right up there. Mbappe and Kane is a close one. I've leaned towards Mbappe, and I think most people will go for him tonight. Vinicius is 5th, with Gabriel, Vitinha, Dembele, Alvarez and Gyökeres. A very underrated option is Francisco Trincao. If you're backing Sporting tonight, I think he's the one to go for. I bought him in Matchday 12, and I have no regrets about that whatsoever. And that's why I'm a bit hesitant about selling him today for Vitinha. As much as I like the Portuguese midfielder from Paris Saint-Germain, I also like Francisco Trincao, but that's where these updated transfer plans could come into play, and I can buy Kvaratskhelia for Rafinha, keep Trincao, and this is where it gets a bit iffy because I would have triple Arsenal defence with Raya, Gabriel and Saliba if I were to buy the Frenchman in. Nuno Mendes is still a very good option. The same goes for Bacho, but yeah, I think when it comes down to it, one thing I'm considering is possibly not going for Saliba and maybe having a Sporting defender instead. I'm not going to go for anyone from Real Madrid or Bayern in the defence, like I said before. With PSG, I've already got enough coverage there, but Bacho would be an option. And as a one match day punt, I could go for Gonzalo Inacio as one prime example. So that's kind of where my head's at the moment. But I think over both legs and possibly into the semi-finals, Saliba might be the better option. So that's what it really comes down to for me. So I'm going to put a poll out and then go through some member questions and also super chats. Thanks to those that are tuning in. Let's close in on 39,000 subscribers and let's get this stream up to 300. Like I said, I did a triple upload yesterday. I'm doing this live stream now. A lot of technical issues, of course, unfortunately, which we were able to sort of surpass. And yeah, illness, all that stuff. You know, I can't even move my bloody neck properly. A lot of things are kind of adding on top of each other, but it's good to see so many of you here in the process. Thank you, of course, for tuning in. So let's put this poll out. I think it's about the defender. That's the only area where I'm a bit stuck, if you will. So let's do that. So let's put Gonzalo Inacio, Saliba, and Bacho. I'm going to keep it quite simple. I don't want to add too many names onto that list, but that could work fair. Oh dear. I hope it's not coming back, by the way. Yeah. Spike, that would have been the internet probably, but you could be sorted in just a few seconds and then I can go through your questions. So yeah, I do apologize about that. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not even sure. Yeah, hopefully it's still going live. Like I said, I do apologize for that. I'm going to on case. Yeah. Yeah, it is lagging at the moment. Even the chat overlay isn't working the way I would expect it to. Yeah, I do apologize for that. Bought Cancelo for Upamecano just so I could buy Mbappe, thank the Lord. It worked out. I have 0.0 in the bank. Yeah, I think Cancelo looks better for the next two match days. Upamecano has been more solid over the course of the season. Ultimately, we can't really judge Cancelo too much because we've only seen him play, what, 2 matches in the Champions League this season. Oogie Boogie says, O'Reilly to Calafiori or Barcola to Rice, opting for the latter. Yeah, I get that, especially if you have Ryan Gabriel already. I'm not a massive fan of Rice in UCL Fantasy, but he was player of the match against Leverkusen in the second leg, and he got a decent return there. So, yeah, we all know what Rice can do in the big games. He actually won player of the match in both games last season against Real Madrid. So, yeah, I think he's got the highest ceiling compared to Calafiori. So, yeah, I'd probably go for that instead. But the thing is with Barcola, I'd say yes to all of them. For the final transfer dilemma, Diaz to Gyökeres or Urbik to Garcia, I'm going to say Urbik to Garcia. That'd be my preference, but it's a tough one. Of course, Gyökeres is facing his former club, and Arsenal beat Sporting 5-1 last season. But yeah, with their recent form and the way Sporting have been in home matches, yeah, it's not going to be an easy one for Arsenal. So I'd probably go for the goalkeeper transfer. Nehal says Diaz, Hauge, Saka, Rafinha, Van Dijk to Kane, Mbappe, Kvaratskhelia, Fermin Lopez, Gerard Martin, all 5 free transfers used. Missed the subs deadline last game. We can add 41 points on my bench. That is brutal. Yeah, to have that many points on your bench is always a pain, but especially in UCL Fantasy where you can make substitutions, of course. So, yeah, that's why it's so important to be on top of things, to micromanage your team and, yeah, just be Wednesday deadlines as well. But, yeah, good transfers overall. And I'm seeing a lot of people talk about Gerard Martin, which makes sense. I think that could work, to be fair. So, yeah, I think that definitely plays a part. Yeah, once again, apologies for the internet. The thing is, if I do wide one, which is what I had in the previous stream, yeah, I'm not sure if that's going to cause it to crash in general or for me to lose access. So yeah, it's just a bit of a pain at the moment, but yeah, it all started with the computer itself having much worse internet than my other devices, which made no sense, but it is what it is. It required a restart. All right, so what I'm probably going to do is locking my transfers, and I will answer super chats and things like that when they come in, and also member questions. But yeah, okay, the poll looks a bit different. So Saliba is winning, 55%. Bacho second, and Gonzalo Inacio is third. Interesting. But yeah, I think I'm going to lock things in just in case something just ridiculous happens. It just hasn't really been an ideal situation, so yeah, Saliba, Nuno Mendes, Kvaratskhelia, Mbappe, Kane. I'm going to keep it very simple here and probably end up making these transfers. The alternative is to keep Van Dijk and to sell Trincao, but I'll be honest, at 6.5 and below, I don't see anybody offering better value than Francisco Trincao. So, yeah, I think that's probably the way to go. And as I talked about in my team selection, the alternative is to go for Bacho over Nuno Mendes, and then I can buy Vitinha for Trincao. So that could also work fairly well. So quite a close one. I'm going to put both of these on screen and then lock in my transfers over the next couple of minutes. I want to have that all sorted. So let's bring in Mbappe and Harry Kane. Then let's bring in Kvaratskhelia. And then Saliba and Nuno Mendes. That's pretty much what it comes down to, actually. So Vitinha and Bacho, or Nuno Mendes and Saliba. Yeah. So I'm going to end this poll. And thanks to those that voted, be sure to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit the notification bell, bloody hell, the notification bell, and click the hype button as well, which, yeah, has been around for quite a few months. At least it's a good option. I'm not going to go for him, I think, but he was talked about in my best Limmerless video. I don't have Madrid players and only one Barca in Yamal. Yeah, I think with Madrid, Vinicius and Mbappe are the standouts, and for Barca, Yamal is definitely going to be the one as well. Thank you very much for the kind words and wishes there. Yeah, time flies. It's almost a week, actually, since my birthday. Yeah, I'm going to double check it, but basically, the internet just started. Yeah, I'll talk about it more after the deadline has passed, but it was a device issue, and it was compounded by the internet being a little bit shaky as well. Gyökeres will be Exlor. Yeah, well, Victor Gyökeres has been in good form recently. 5 goals in the last 4 games for club and country. And he scored against Southampton off the bench. He has looked pretty decent recently. So, best forward for Wednesday, Dembele for me. Alvarez isn't too far off, but I think Dembele. Trincao or Fermin Lopez? I think for Matchday 13, it's a very close one, but probably Fermin Lopez. Yeah, it's a close one. I think Trincao in general is just so consistent, but yeah, it is a coin toss for me. All right, so let's put this poll out. Oh yeah, let me try get the chat overlay to work because, like I said, everything was working before. It just requires a few refreshes and stuff like that. So hopefully now you can see it. Cancelo or Bacho? I think Cancelo for the first leg. Now, Bacho has the most ball recoveries in the game with 78. He's also one of the highest scoring defenders, but I think Cancelo could be one of those players who finally translates his league form into the Champions League, which is what we want to see. Gyökeres or Rashford? Probably Gyökeres for me, not by much. Raya, Gabriel, Saliba, Kimi, Grimaldo, Vinicius, Gordon, Doué, Suarez, Hauge, Alvarez, Urbig, Van Dijk, Yamal, Salah, out Grimaldo, Gordon, Hauge, and Urbig. Then Salah, Van Dijk, Doué, Alvarez. Yeah, decent. I think with midfielders, I do prefer Vitinha and Kvaratskhelia over Doué, but we have seen it sort of switch about a little bit, where Doué was the standout in the knockout phase playoffs. In the round of 16, Kvaratskhelia was the highest scoring player amongst all clubs, to be fair. And over the course of the league phase, Vitinha was the most consistent. So, yeah, I think they all have their own merits, but I would prefer the other two over Doué. Like I said, though, it can change about again, that's for sure. Yeah, I think that's a good move. I do prefer Gerard Martin over Upamecano. And ultimately with Barcelona, they are second in the clean sheet odds, only behind Arsenal. Thank you, Marikichu, for becoming a differential. Much appreciated there. And thanks to everyone else for supporting the channel. Probably Mbappe for me, but it's very close. It's another coin toss there. And I did put a poll out on my channel, which I went through earlier in the stream. So, yeah, you can see what the community also think. And Mbappe is the leader there. So let's put this poll. So this would be the first option. So let's say Bacho, Van Dijk, and Vitinha. Bacho. And then the other one would be Nuno Mendes, Saliba, and Trincao. So yeah, that is pretty much where it comes down to for my final UCL fantasy team. Vinicius, Mbappe, Kane captain. Yeah, probably Mbappe. So let's go through this one last time. So the highest scoring players in each position. Courtois for goalkeepers, but he's unavailable. Van Dijk for defenders. Szoboszlai amongst midfielders and all players with 83 points. And Mbappe is top for the forwards. And as you can see, this top five is dominated by midfielders as well, when you look at all positions. And these are the clean sheet odds. Arsenal are top. Barcelona, PSG, Bayern, Sporting are in the top five. The rest of the quarterfinalists, and in order, include Real Madrid, Liverpool, and Atletico Madrid. And I do agree with the bottom two. You could argue they have an even worse chance of keeping a clean sheet, but only time will tell. This is my top 10 for the captaincy. Remember, captain a Tuesday player and start all your Tuesday options first. Then you can make substitutions before the Wednesday games begin at 8 PM in the UK tomorrow. It'd be 9 PM across Europe. But Harry Kane will no longer be flagged, of course, after the match kicks off. He is in the starting 11, of course. But Yamal, Kvaratskhelia, Mbappe, Kane is my top five in order, followed by Gabriel, Vitinha, Dembele, Alvarez, and Victor Gyökeres. And one differential who could steal the show again is Francisco Trincao. Okay, so let's now go back to the transfer section and lock things in. So yeah, at the moment, Nuno Mendes, Saliba, and Trincao is winning. Not by much, but yeah, it is quite a close call. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for all the super chats today. So thank you, my Fairground, and to everyone else. Yeah, it is what it is, right? Hanko or Konate? I'm not a big fan of either, if I'm being completely honest. If I had to pick, it's probably going to be Konate. Van Dijk against PSG is picking a movable object up against an unstoppable force. And Van Dijk is the best, to be fair. And he's the highest scoring defender in UCL Fantasy, just to give him a bit of credit. Hola Dylan, ¿qué opinas? O ¿a quién pones de capitán? Probablemente Kylian Mbappe. Y para mañana sería Yamal o Kvaratskhelia. Virgil or Tar out for Cancelo. I'd rather sell Tar. Then again, I think both of them aren't looking too great this week. Not gonna lie, I think Szoboszlai surprises PSG and scores a brace and 1 assist. Yeah, I'm happy to keep him. I think amongst all Liverpool players, I'd be more open to selling Van Dijk compared to Szoboszlai, and those two are the only ones worth keeping from Liverpool right now. I think the balance is 7-8. It's not too bad. So just to recalculate it, if I were to bring in Saliba, Nuno Mendes, Kvaratskhelia, Mbappe, and Kane, I would have Raya, Saliba, Gabriel, Trincao, Vinicius, and then the two forwards. So, yeah, and Diaz as well. It's not bad. It's not too bad. It's ideally you'd have 8 or 9 Tuesday players, but this still works fairly well. And ultimately, you don't want to force players in just because, oh, they play on the Tuesday or the Wednesday. As long as you don't have a really big imbalance, like only 5 Tuesday players or fewer, I think you're good to go. I'm not too concerned about that, to be honest. Nuno Saliba or Pacho? Apologies. Nuno Mendes for me. I think from those three, it would be Nuno Mendes. I wouldn't get a Liverpool defender, but Van Dijk is the only one who could be worth considering. And even then, I think PSG will score plenty of goals there. Elise or Diaz? Probably Elise, but Diaz has been exceptional when it comes to goal contributions. Yeah, Tustapaki, I did highlight your message earlier. And Due was the only one I sort of called out. But okay, so yeah, you're selling Grimaldo, Gordon, and Hauger, and then between the others, you're looking to sell. I think Alvarez is. I like both of them. I think I'm going to go in for Gyökeres and Kane and avoid Mbappe. It is a risk, but ultimately that could work. And Gyökeres is in great form at the moment. He's facing his former club. It's just Mbappe's the top scorer of this competition, and he's a great captaincy option for Tuesday. But I completely get it. Sometimes you have to make bold calls, and that's the way you win your mini leagues and also rise up the rankings sometimes. And yeah, even when it comes to the captaincy, whether you hold on to your original pick or if you switch it, I think that could also work. Yeah, that's really annoying. What I'll probably do then, if it's doing that, is yeah, no, you see, I shouldn't have done that. I think it should be working, but yeah. Let's see if this works now. I'm not going to get my hopes up, to be honest, the way today has gone. But yeah. Let's see. Yeah. So I think right now it's been an internet issue, but for some reason the device I'm using to stream, which had all the things laid out, unfortunately that's the one that's experiencing more turbulence when it comes to the internet. I'm not exactly sure why it is, but yeah, it is quite annoying. Let's see, if I just do that then. It's not working with that, unfortunately. So I have to use Wi-Fi, and that means the internet's going to be very unstable. Bloody hell, man, this is an absolute nightmare. So yeah, apologies for this. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. And like I said, as soon as I have the option to upgrade the internet, I will be doing it. But yeah, it's just getting worse and worse, it seems, this bloody thing. So yeah, I'm going to lock in my transfers then and not leave anything to chance. So let's see. See a bit instead. Thank you, Luis Alexander. Cancelo y Saliba es mejor o es mejor Nuno y Ruggeri. No, creo que Cancelo y Saliba es mejor. Me gusta mucho Nuno Méndez, pero Ruggeri para mí, bueno, no creo que va a anotar muchos puntos, así que es mejor ir por el otro dúo. Gracias. What happened to Dembele? Well, nothing's happened to him. It's just I've got other forwards to buy in. I always said that Kane and Mbappe is the preference for me. And that hasn't really changed, to be honest. So, yeah. ¿Por qué no Gyökeres o por qué preferís a Kane? Y Harry Kane hace mucho más goles, tiene 4 premios para mejor jugador, así que 12 puntos más. y también tiene 10 goles en la Champions. Victor Gyökeres está haciendo bastante bien en los últimos partidos y hizo algunos goles, pero sí, hasta en la Champions para mí Gyökeres no es tan consistente como Harry Kane, que es una bestia en esta competencia, así que prefiero a Harry Kane. Y también con Arsenal hay muchos partidos donde le cuesta hacer un gol o crear oportunidades, y para mí Sporting va a ser bastante duro hoy, así que creo que Bayern Real Madrid va a ser más abierto y Harry Kane es una buena opción para ambos partidos. What's up, Dylan? Today's the day. Sporting Arsenal. Are you confident? I'm not confident, no. Draw, to be honest. And yeah, if I saw a little bit more from Arsenal, then maybe I'd yeah, maybe I'd feel a little bit differently, but it is what it is. Yeah, I'm not even sure. I think, yeah, there are times where the internet just goes down to 0. I think it's an internet issue or also a device problem, which has resurfaced again. Wouldn't be surprised if I have a virus on my computer as well, so I'm going to have to sort that out. But yeah, I'm going to lock in my transfers before this just completely crashes. So let's see how the poll is going, if the stream's even going at this point. So, the fuck? Okay, yeah, very close. Nuno Mendes, Saliba, and Trincao only narrowly leading at the moment. But yeah, I'm going to probably make these transfers and just lock it in then. And make sure my starting 11 is all done and dusted. So it would be Rafinha, Jonathan Tah, Van Dijk, Peter Haug, and Haaland, to Kvaratskhelia, Nuno Mendes, Saliba, Mbappe, and Harry Kane. So I think that is probably what I'll end up doing, just so you can see it. And let's get the question off screen. But yeah, thank you very much once again to Luis Alexander and the rest for the super chats. I think I've gone through all of them at this point, and also big up to the new members as well in the building. Let's close in on 39,000 subscribers, and also let's get this stream to as many likes as possible. Over 200 would be appreciated. I'm not even sure what we're at the moment, but yeah, thanks very much. So yeah, let's get to 200 likes as well. I know usually the numbers would be bigger, not just for likes, but also views. But yeah, the device and the internet had other ideas today. So yeah. Okay. I'm not even sure. Yeah, it just keeps going to red. It's very annoying. So I'm gonna just lock in these moves then. Let's just do it. Okay. And this is where it's very important. Make sure to put these players into the starting 11. I always talk about this. So Szoboszlai will go to the bench, and Mbappe comes in, and then it's just about locking in the final captain. So this is where Nuno Mendes can drop to the bench. Yeah, it looks pretty good in general. Okay, let's see if that is now all good. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I've got to check like different screens at this point to even know what I'm doing with this device. So yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare. Thanks to everyone for the patience. Obviously, I've tried to answer as many questions as possible, but yeah. Let's just make sure to captain the player I want, so it's either Mbappe or Kane. So yeah, that should be good. So for today, I have Raya, Saliba, Gabriel, Trincao, Vinicius, Kane, Diaz, and Mbappe. And tomorrow I've got Yamal, Kvaratskhelia, Hakimi, Joan Garcia, Nuno Mendes, Joao Cancelo, and Szoboszlai. So I'm all set pretty much. It's just if I make a late switch with the captaincy. Maybe I'll flip a coin, who knows, it'll probably lag on screen and it'll end as soon as it's flipping. Like a Michael Bay movie or something, so. There you go. Yeah. There will be an inquest. That's all I'm going to say. There will be an inquest. Yes, exactly. It is lock-in time. Is it wise to lose a -4 to bring in Dembele for Diaz? I have Diaz, Elise, Kane. Want to change one? I wouldn't take a -4 hit for that. I like Dembele, but he's only got 21 points this season. So if we were seeing Dembele's form from the last campaign, when he was brilliant in the Champions League as well, then fair enough. But I wouldn't do that for a hit. Well, Dembele only has 21 points in the Champions League, mate, and he hasn't even gone 10 plus points in a single game this season. That's why. Yeah, thanks, Harrison James. Yeah, it's very frustrating, but it is what it is, right? I had everything set up, and I did tests before starting, and it was all good, but sometimes these things happen. Who is your captain? Some options tomorrow, if needed. I traded Vitinha for Trincao. Did I mess it up? Not necessarily, but I did say this before that I'm a bit uncomfortable with the idea of selling either one for the other, and I was looking at potentially Trincao to Vitinha, which was one of my proposed transfers in the team selection video. Gyökeres, Kane or Mbappe as captain. You saw my captaincy list earlier, if the stream didn't cut out too much, but yeah, Mbappe was the highest on that list from those three. Thank you, Sydney. Hopefully you're doing well too. My transfers are Hugo, Ekitike, Rafinha, Salah and Van Dijk to Mbappe, Kane, Kvaratskhelia, Pitark and Cancelo. The only one I'm not convinced about is Pitark, but the rest look good. And yeah. Let's just go back to my team. Yeah, Pitark is the only one I'm not too sure about, but I think the others will do really well. The only concern, of course, is that a few of these players, like Mbappe and Kvaratskhelia, who I bought in as well, by the way, they are one yellow card away from suspension, so there is an element of risk there. Why Trincao? I already had him. I didn't buy him in. But yeah, Mbappe is my captain. A lot of people asking that. We've only got 1 minute left until the deadline. But yeah, apologies for the lag, the stream, and all the issues with the hardware and the internet. But yeah, I will make sure that it doesn't happen again. But yeah, at the moment, I'm just working with what I've got. Is do it to Kvaratskhelia for a -4 worth it? I'm not sure if I'd do it for a -4 hit. Well, I've mentioned Gyökeres a lot in my videos, so he has been mentioned. He is in fantastic form, playing against a former team, 5 goals in the last 4 matches, but I'll be honest with you. Yeah, Kane and Mbappe are on another level. I said this in Spanish a few minutes ago, and you just get sheer consistency from those options. With Gyökeres and Arsenal, they can sometimes be a bit lackluster in the final third. Particularly Arsenal, they just don't create enough chances sometimes, and they struggle to score in quite a lot of matches. We've seen that recently, and obviously the last 2 matches have been quite a disgrace. But Gyökeres or Luis Suarez, I'm going to say Gyökeres over the course of both legs. For this game in particular, there is definitely a consideration for Suarez, but I'm going to stick with Victor Gyökeres. Maxi Araujo and Vinicius is the real differential. Yeah, I think Sporting have a few decent options, but Trincao is definitely the best that they have to offer. Burning 2 free transfers because I got all the names already. Yeah, and it's a shame you can't roll them, but hey, sometimes it's better not to make a transfer than just forcing it. Yeah, the deadline is coming, unfortunately. I wish we could roll back time today anyway and restart it, but it is what it is. It's hammer time. All right, Lewis Hamilton. Dylan, my body said neither Kane or Mbappe. How crazy is that? Well, that's fair enough, and for the captaincy, you don't have to go for these players. I think there is a case to go for something a little bit different, but I've been a bit boring when it comes to those particular moves, but they're 2 big hitters who could definitely make the difference today. I think Vinicius could actually outperform both of them. It's possible, but sometimes getting the first captain right can actually go against you. That's something I would say. And by the way, I want to put the Arsenal game on, but I mean, who even knows? That's probably going to make me lag even more. Not like it maybe matters as much now anyway. But it is what it is. I'm going to see if I can somehow do both. Thank you, Restolen, Johnny, and everyone else in the stream. All good, mates, says Politics as well to you. Even the haters, as you say. Kane or Mbappe, captain, and why? Well, I've gone for Mbappe. He's the top scorer in the Champions League this season. Real Madrid are at home. Sometimes, I mean, look, home advantage is a thing, but you can get these surprises where, let's say, Bayern win at the Bernabeu and then Real Madrid win at the Allianz. That could happen. But I think in this scenario, Real Madrid are a little bit more likely to win in Matchday 13. And I think Mbappe has been a bit out of form recently. He just came off the back of an injury, just like Harry Kane. But when Kane was playing in the last couple of matches, he was on fire. And I think he had 9 goals in the last 10 games. So we all know what Kane is about. He's a superb player.